Hello there, physics learners. I know quite a lot of you struggle with equations in physics, or even strange symbols in physics. And today we're going to look at three common physics mistakes that students make and how students can avoid those mistakes and how you can avoid those mistakes and also improve your confidence in physics. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mr. Chiadi. And I'm a physics teacher here in Qatar. I teach A-level physics. I teach advanced placements and IB physics. So let's dive in and see the first mistake the students make, and that has to be with imputing numbers too early or plugging in numbers too early. Let's look at this equation. And this is a normal equation that we use in motion, also use it in projectile motion. And at times, when students are given a problem to solve, and maybe it involves an equation like this, and they are asked to maybe find a variable, you can see the variables are there. The S there is displacement or distance. Then you have initial velocity, that's the U, and then you have the T for time, and A, the acceleration. So these are variables. So at times in physics or in exam, may be asked to find a particular variable. Maybe, for instance, you'll be asked to find the t, the time. And mistake some students make is that they plug in the numbers before isolating the variable. And that leads to mistakes. So, but the right thing to do as a physics student is first to rearrange the equation and then isolate the variable you're looking for, make it the subject of that formula. Then you now plug in the numbers and then you get your correct answer. And the reason why this method is best for you in solving physics is that first, rearranging the equation and isolating the variable first makes your calculations look neat. And it makes it easy for you to check errors in case you make any mistake. So please take note of this very important mistake. Don't plug in the numbers too early. Rearrange the equations first, isolate the variable or make the variable you are looking for the subject of the equation before you now plug in or input your numbers. Now, the second mistake students make a lot is with regard to units. Units play a very important role in physics. And this is because physics is a science of quantities. We talk about a lot of physical quantities in physics. And because of that, units play a role in helping identify the particular quantity you are working with. For instance, you solve a physics problem and you got an answer, let's say an answer of 9.8 like you see on the screen, or just any number. The number on its own is meaningless in physics, whether a unit. So if your answer is like you got an answer, maybe the answer may be correct, but it doesn't have a unit, that answer is meaningless. And that's one of the reasons why students lose marks in exam, is because they miss the units. Units are so important in physics, in your answers. So you need to always remember that when you solve problems in physics, always include your units at the final answer. Another interesting thing about units is that it helps you also to know if you use your formulas correctly. So if you are using a formula or an equation and you use it wrongly, it's going to reflect on your unit. So if you are taking note of your units and you're solving a problem or you rearrange an equation, if there's a mistake in your formula, it's going to show in your unit. And that's why units, they're very important, and they help you to check the correctness of your formula. So now the third one, which is also very common, is the way students memorize. It says memorizing without understanding. A lot of students do this. They are quick to memorize without understanding the concept. And that's why physics doesn't work that way. Physics is a science that you need to understand the concept behind it. Just memorizing it doesn't help you to be a good physics student. So when you are being taught a concept like the one you see there, a popular equation, force equal to mass multiplied by acceleration, it means that you need to know the relationship between the variables. And see that the force causes the acceleration of an object. Let's say this formula is used for objects in motion. So if an object is moving, the force producing that object is directly proportional or equal to the mass of that object multiplied by the acceleration. So that's the relationship between the variables in that equation. And being able to understand the variable in the equation, be able to understand the relationship between the variables helps you to master physics quickly. Another thing is that if you are struggling to understand the concept, try and explain it to someone else, maybe your classmate or your friend, and see how well you can do that. So let's look at the summary of what we've done today. In summary, we have looked at the 3 mistakes that students make. There are actually 3 common mistakes. There are a lot of mistakes that students make in physics, but these are the common ones we looked at. Number 1 is plugging in too early. Don't impute your numbers into the equation too early. First, rearrange, locate the variable you are looking for, and then make it a subject of formula before you plug in the numbers. And the second mistake students make is ignoring units. Don't ignore units, because if you ignore units, you lose marks. The third one is memorizing without understanding. You need to understand the concept. You need to understand the relationship between the variables before you can be a master or be a good physics student. So finally, I'd like to thank you for paying attention. I would like you to like, make comment, or subscribe to my videos. Produce more videos in the future. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.